You ever received any specific training regarding the Louisiana travel regulations?
No, sir, I haven't.
Have you ever received such training?
No, sir.
Do you know of anybody that's received such training?
No, sir. My only concern was he got a letter of caution, I got a letter of reprimand.
A letter of reprimand is a disciplinary action in the civil service rules, is it not?
That's correct, sir.
And a caution is not.
That's correct.
You get an opportunity to respond in writing, as officers do if they have a firing, a suspension, or a demotion.
No, sir. Once the colonel issues my discipline in reference to a letter of reprimand, that's yours. That's your discipline.
So did you get an opportunity to talk to Colonel Reeves and try and explain to him, or explain to him by any method, your side of the story here?
No, I never contacted Colonel Reeves.
Did you ever get an opportunity to explain to him your side of the story?
I didn't.
There was some question the Office of Legal Affairs has raised repetitively, the question about your activities on Friday in San Diego when you weren't registered at the SPOS conference. Despite being not registered for the SPOS conference, did you attend the SPOS conference throughout the day on Friday, the 14th?
14th. Yes, sir. I attended functions all day that day.
Would you tell this commission who you attended those functions with?
Colonel Doobie, Colonel Edmondson, Major Williams, and some of them were Lieutenant Hyatt. He said do, that's what I would do.
Were you getting instructions on what to do throughout the day, or generally instructions in the morning as to what you were supposed to do?
Honestly, so I was getting too many instructions because I was beginning to get confused because I was, it was go here, go there. So, but yeah, I was getting a lot of instructions.
Did you work all day that Friday?
I did, sir.
And did you claim any time on your time sheet, sir? I'm talking about the second time sheet, that you didn't work.
No, sir, I didn't.
You received substantially less. I mean, you received no monetary penalty as a result of your activities on this trip, did you?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. Why did you choose to appeal this reprimand?
Well, I chose to appeal the reprimand because I felt like you guys been hearing, people been hearing all day. I just felt like it wasn't right the way. Again, I take responsibility for whatever I get from you all today, tomorrow, whenever. I mean, I accept that. But I just didn't like the way everything unfolded. My name was blasted all over the media. I'm a northern boy. I'm from what you call the Bible Belt. We try to keep things good. We try to keep our names good. And to see your name being blasted all over the media for something that you were just told to do, and you're not under a gag order, but you better not say nothing. Let's be realistic. People acting like, if we'd have just jumped out and said something that, we would have been good and I would have been back at the Capitol working in legislation. No, that's not how it was going to turn out. I was going back home regardless, and I was good with that because it was time for me to go back home. I had done what I needed to do in Baton Rouge, but the way all of the stuff unfolded, it just really hurt me. My son had to see it on TV. I mean, I couldn't take it. I said no. And even if I don't get anything out of here, I want you guys to hear my side of this story, and that's why I'm here.
Did you knowingly and intelligently submit any false documentation, sir?
I would never do that. No.
Or did you have things to do on this trip, and did you try and fulfill the projects that were assigned to you?
Actually, at the time, I had 3 projects going. One was a new Narcan. I was doing a Narcan report. I was doing the scrap metal report, and I was tasked with taking care of the security side and working on some legislation for the National Black Caucus Convention, which was scrap yard is just what it is. It's scrap yards. So I mean, I had a lot of papers because I Googled a lot, and I just had everything. So I was just trying to put all this stuff together. But when it came down to the scrap yard, that was my biggest issue. And then Lieutenant Hyatt, the entire time I was there, he would always ask me, like, where you at on this, the report, and where you at on this, and the colonel would even ask me, where you at on this? So, within our agency, you can't be stagnant. If the colonel right now asks me where I'm at on a project that he's giving me, I'm not gonna tell him I'm in the same place I was yesterday. I'm gonna be in advance in that project, so you have to keep moving, you know? Whether you lose sleep or not, you still have to get it done.
Were there evenings when you spent hours working on reports?
Sir, I spent a lot of hours working on those reports. Hours I didn't even think about claiming. I just, you know, it's part of the deal. I needed to get it done.
Did you know you were going the northern route when you drove from Natchitoches to Baton Rouge that morning?
Sir, I had no clue where I was going, period. I just knew I was coming to Baton Rouge that morning, and we were going to San Diego, but as far as the route, I had no clue. Well, there's no reason for me to drive 4 hours and then pass right back by my house. I can almost see my house from the interstate. I mean, it makes no sense to do that.
When y'all got back to Baton Rouge, you heard Rodney testify that y'all talked a little bit about getting your time straight, right, and your expenses straight.
That's correct.
Was that something you had done in the past when you go on a trip with other people?
Yes, sir.
Was that sort of standard procedure for you?
I mean, we do. I do it. I mean, if it's somebody higher ranking than me, I mean, I'll mirror their information because they know more than I do. They know what they're doing. So yes. You
learn about Colonel Edmondson's statement on the TV and his news article on the 19th of February, indicating that there was issues arisen, that he had appointed investigators, and that there was a possibility of disciplinary action. Did you learn that?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did that cause you some trepidation?
A lot.
Okay. Did you get called into a meeting in Major Flincham's office where the door was closed and it was you, Captain McClendon, and Major Flincham?
I was.
What are your thoughts about that?
I was scared to death for one. I mean, I've never dealt with IA in my entire career.
Have you ever had a disciplinary action before, sir?
No, sir. No. So I've never, especially of that magnitude, I've never had anything dealing with IA. So I've always been that cat. If you saw IA, you run the other way. You know, that's just me. I mean, I don't bother them. I speak, but I don't bother them. So when he called me,
you knew that was a big deal, didn't you?
For me, it was. For me, it was a very big deal.
What was your impression of the questions being asked of you, sir? Were they accusatory in nature?
When I went in, I guess they kind of put me at ease when I first went in. The guy, McClendon, kind of put me at ease, and he told me what he was fixing to talk about, and you know, I remember I'm still thinking about the stuff I just heard on the news, so I became concerned. But he asked me some basic questions, kept it professional, and I answered his questions, and we moved on. But I was asked some questions, you know, him and
what kind of things was he questioning you about?
About the as everybody called it, the Vegas trip. So we was talking about the route. I think his main concern that day was the route and what we were doing, and you know, how did we end up in Shreveport, you know, at a wing stop, you know, stuff of that nature.
Did you make a reimbursement in this matter?
I did.
Almost $1,000, $990 some dollars?
That's correct.
Okay. In doing that, did you intend that to be an admission of guilt on your part?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you feel like you were guilty of anything, that you had knowingly or intentionally done anything wrong?
No, I didn't feel like I'd done anything wrong. I just, like was said earlier, listening at all that stuff and seeing all that stuff in the media and on the news and what have you, you know, I started second guessing, like, you know, maybe I do need to do something different or something, you know, to hopefully make this go away, you know. But that's why I done it, because, you know, me and Lieutenant hired a talk, and he pointed out some things to me, and I decided to go along and pay some money back as well.
And you paid back some meals, and you paid back some overtime.
I think it boiled down to everything that was off the route. I think it was everything that was off the route.
Did you feel that you had authority to go on that route? Had you been told you had authority to go on that route?
Yes, sir. I was told to go on the trip, and I knew once we took off, we were going the northern route.
This payment that you made purely voluntarily on your part, because you wanted to see if that would move it to get this whole thing resolved?
Yeah, I didn't know any better. I thought about taking care of that, it would go away. And that's what I've done.
Colonel Reeves testified, he took it as a admission of guilt. Did you take it, did you perceive it to be admission of guilt?
No, I didn't take it as an admission of guilt.
Do you take it as admission of guilt today?
No, sir.
After you were read your rights on March 2nd and March 23rd, the dates of your interviews with Internal Affairs, did you ever ask for an attorney?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
You said you accounted for your time to the investigators on Thursday. Was that, did you tell them you were working on your 3 projects whenever you had spare time?
I think I did.
Okay. And you mentioned your timesheet might still be inaccurate. Why is the reason for that? Was that because you didn't claim all the hours you felt you were entitled to?
That's correct, because we done the average 12 hours.
Yeah, but did you feel that you worked more than that, than the hours that y'all recorded?
I know I worked more than hours than I recorded.
Are you required to cooperate by that policy order with investigation?
Yes, sir.
Did you try and do that even though they didn't read you your rights?
I done it.
Not only tried, you did
I
do it.
did it. Right.
People thought had we got out in front or jumped out in front and said everything, we would have been all good. And then you said no. I need you to elaborate to that. When you know you were being asked questions earlier. I'm trying to get to the culture. I'm trying to get to what was going through your mind when all this started. The reason why, you know, you're reading something in the paper, Colonel Edmondson says something, what many have testified here too, is exactly opposite of what happened.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, sir, to be honest with you. The entire incident has been, you know, terrible for myself, and I'm sure for the other guys in the department, everybody involved. But as for myself, I've never been into any trouble. I'm an ex-high school, ex-college athlete. You have a great name up north where I live at. I participate in everything, and when you have people calling you, you know, because they see something like this on the news and they telling you, we know better, this is not you, and so forth. And then, of course, you know, I'm sitting here looking at everything and I'm thinking to myself, you know, wow, I mean, I was told to do this, and now one day I was a decent guy at the compound, and now I'm like, feel like I'm the lowest thing on the compound because my name just been drugged through the mud. I mean, what man doesn't want to protect his name? If he doesn't, he's not a man. So my whole thing was, even in paying the money back, I was just trying to, you know, take care of it. I just wanted it to go away because I've never been in anything like this before in my entire life. So I didn't like the attention, that negative attention, because I don't do negative energy. I'm positive. So I didn't like the negative attention. I felt like if Colonel Reeves was coming in, and I've been knowing him, like I said, my entire career, and I just thought I'd try to, me and Rodney, we said, well, let's try to jump out ahead, be proactive, and, you know, just pay the money back. I mean, we did take the trip, and he's not owning up to it. The person that told us to take the trip, he's not owning up to it. So we got to do something, and that was, he and I, we discussed it, and all of us discussed it honestly, but I went ahead and paid the money back, and so did Rodney. And initially I didn't wanna pay the money back because I was thinking to myself, the same thing that's going on in this room right now. You know, am I gonna look guilty if I do this? You know, or, you know, am I gonna look proactive to the new colonel that's coming in? He knows me, he knows I don't, you know, do stuff like this, and so that's a lot of things going on in your head when I made those decisions, but I made the decisions and I done it. I felt like I was being attacked because I didn't even think I don't even think this was about us. I'm just gonna be honest with you, since you asked me that question, I don't think this was about us. This wasn't about us, this was about Colonel Edmondson. I mean, we just happened to be working under him doing some stuff. I mean, I guess people thought, you know, we were all best friends, but I wish they could be in the room. You know, they know it wasn't like that. It was all business. I was president of the Central State Troopers Coalition. My job in Baton Rouge was to help pass legislation, do my best to keep a nice relationship with the Black caucus, and try to get legislation moved within and for the state police. And that's what I was doing. So you go from being somebody and doing what you're doing to, hey, you going back up north next week, you know, in which they didn't do me like that, but at the end of the day, that's how, you know, that's how it was.